Welcome back, everybody. In the next section, I'm going to talk about creating paid social marketing plans and how do we really think about the different customer journeys and create social ads based on that. Obviously, the world is changing and consumers are becoming more and more demanding. Can anybody guess how long did it take the airline industry to reach its first 50 million customers? I'm not talking about a single brand, I'm talking about the airline industry as a whole. It took them 68 years to reach their first 50 million users. The automobile industry, it took them 62 years to reach their first 50 million users. The telephone industry took 50 years. The internet, on the other hand, obviously took a lot lesser. It took them 7 years to reach its first 50 million users. Facebook took 3 years. Can anybody guess how long did Pokemon Go take? 19 days. So we are in today's day and age where users are becoming more and more demanding. Pokemon Go was such a fad, probably made millions, exited, nobody even plays it anymore. So, how do we really capture the attention of these fickle minded users who are our potential customers who exist in today's world? So, what should we do? The answer is we need to create frictionless customer experiences. And when we talk about friction, what do we really mean by friction? A lot of users tend to use different media. Yesterday we saw how Tina from Microsoft explained that people do multitasking all the time. I could be on my workday laptop doing something. At the conference here, there are people responding to emails, listening to the conference, doing all lots of things at the same time. So how do we make the users really not think and get them to act based on whatever we want them to do? That's what is called creating frictionless customer experiences. So the first step in that is segmentation, of course. We need to really understand who our user base is and who's our customer base. We had a brilliant session earlier on from Experian where they spoke about how we can segment users. Once we've understood our target market and we've understood a specific segment, this is the next step that we need to understand that for that specific segment, what is their largest underserved need? And our product or service, how does that really fit into that underserved need? So what do you mean by underserved need? There are a lot of products out there with a lot of competition. So there could be a segment and you could realize that this is the specific need, but a competitor could potentially be solving for that need. We need to really figure out that how does our product or service fit into a specific customer and how does it solve for that specific customer's underserved need, which and do it better than competition. So obviously competition should not be solving for that need. This is what is called the product market fit, where we define value propositions and based on that, come up with our tech product, define the feature sets and UX, and talk about how that specific product is serving our customers' underserved need. So I'm going to take you through a case study. Small was one of our clients. And today they are Series B funded. We worked with them when they were Series A funded by Balderton, and we helped them reach and acquire their first 5 million users. So what was Small? Small was a laundry detergent brand. It was delivered to the doorstep through your letterbox. So their obvious segmentation, they were UK based at that time. And their obvious segmentation was basically looking at capturing various segments in the UK market. We're going to talk through how they segmented the users and how did they then create user journeys which were frictionless for those different segments. A little video to explain.
He doesn't clean, he doesn't wash his clothes, he can barely string a sentence together. Not that it matters, because we've got absolutely nothing in common. He just sits there in front of the TV, gut out and farting. And the weird thing is, I've just got used to it. I used to be fun, and look at me now. And it's all for him. It's all about what he wants. What about what I want? And do I ever get any thanks? I'm thinking about kicking him out. He's coming. Hello. Did you put yourself again? Oh, shush. Luckily, Mummy's subscribed to Small, hasn't she? Laundry capsules through the letterbox whenever you need them, so I don't have to lug massive boxes of detergent every time you do a dirty little protest. David, that's a code brown. David.
Go to smallproducts.com and try for free today.
So that was Small. This was one of the TV commercials that they had made. So when we started marketing Small, we segmented them and we figured out, we sat down and we brainstormed and we said, okay, who could be the potential target market? So these were the 6 segments that we came up with, where the first one was obviously moms, because all of us moms know the amount of laundry that we have to do every single week. There were 2 types of moms: price conscious moms and convenience moms. By price conscious, we mean that we were 50% cheaper than any high street brand supermarket laundry detergent. So that's why we said, okay, we can talk about being price conscious and being 50% cheaper. For convenience moms, because obviously moms have a zillion things to take care of, so we said we could position it based on the fact that it's convenient, it gets delivered, it's subscription based, it gets delivered through your letterbox, you don't need to lug around heavy boxes. Cool silvers were obviously people who were above 55, 60 years old and again needed that convenience. Then came eco as a segment. Easy ecos and eco warriors were people who obviously sustainability and eco-friendly is a major aspect of their life, and they actively look for brands. So those were eco warriors who were very keen on really using only products which were sustainable and eco-friendly. And easy ecos they are happy to spend a little more or probably do a little effort to get an eco-friendly brand, but probably didn't really care as much as eco warriors. Millennials, of course, all the bachelors and spinsters sitting out there probably wash their sheets once in a month, but they were again a target segment because they tend to generally forget about laundry detergent in their everyday purchase when they go to the supermarket. So this is how we segmented the users, and we said that these were the 6 buckets of our target users. And then what we did was we said that what was the value proposition for each of these segments. So for cool silvers, it was obviously people staying in cities like London probably who don't have really large houses and they have downsized. So it's less storage because it was a very brilliant packaging and it wasn't a typical large laundry detergent box, as well as they don't really need to lug around heavy detergent boxes when they come back from the supermarket because this gets conveniently delivered to their doorstep. So this was the proposition that we offered to cool silvers. Easy ecos, we said that we are 50% cheaper than your regular laundry detergent brand. Plus, on the top of it, we are also eco-friendly. For eco warriors, we said that the product is eco-friendly and sustainable, and so is the packaging. So we only positioned and communicated based on eco-friendly. Millennials, we said we are obviously 50% cheaper because everybody's on a budget and they want to save money out of the pocket money that they're getting. As well as we said that there is less storage, so you don't really need to have really large boxes. For convenience mums, again, we said you don't really need to lug around heavy detergent boxes, and prize mums was 50% cheaper. So these were the different segments that we targeted. And those were the different value propositions that we tested for each segment. We're going to take one example of eco warriors, and we're going to see how small devised the entire customer journey, and how they use paid social ads to target this specific segment with eco-friendly communication through the entire journey. So this is how they created frictionless customer experiences. We all know this is a typical marketing funnel where top of the funnel is primarily the awareness stage, middle of the funnel is consideration, and bottom of the funnel is conversion, and then obviously post purchase, which is loyalty. So depending on where the users were in different parts of the funnel, we showed them different kind of communication when we were targeting them through paid social ads. So this is how we generally think of the entire user journey and how we create different ad assets based on different parts of the funnel. And we're going to dive deeper into each of them. So the first stage is the awareness stage. So users who are in the awareness stage, this is what is relevant for them. I can't read, so I'm just going to stand here. Yeah. So in the awareness stage, generally, how do people get to know about the brand, right? They get to know by asking friends or co-workers, or they proactively search for various things on Google. So in small scales, they would proactively, for example, search for a search term like best laundry detergent and then click on an ad. Or they potentially saw a banner ad on LinkedIn or on Google or on Facebook or Instagram, right? Or any other social channels. So this was the ad that we used for users in the awareness stage. The ad creative was based on the fact that we wanted to educate users, and these were obviously only eco warriors that we were targeting, that you can say goodbye to single-use plastic and instead use small. And because it was at the awareness stage, we wanted to also incentivize them by saying that you get your free trial. So the business model that Small was based on was a subscription model where users subscribed to their first trial for free. They got the product for free, but automatically after the next time the subscription happened, their card would get charged. So that's how their subscription business was based. And users in the awareness stage were basically used. We wanted to educate them on the fact that they didn't have, like, the product doesn't have any plastic, as well as it's a free trial based product. Users who were in the consideration phase, um, how do you characterize users in the consideration phase? Basically, people who browse e-commerce websites, or they've heard of your brands. They would probably compare it with competition and really evaluate why is our brand better than competition. Then users probably have clicked on the landing page of the website, or they've searched something on the website. They've probably browsed through the category page and landed on the product display page, or they've navigated through the website and seen different kinds of products on the website. So those are the users in the consideration phase. And for those users, we basically created ads like that, which compared the product with competition. And again, in the comparison, we highlighted the fact that this was eco-friendly and competition was not. So obviously, we saw the best-selling competition products, and then we said that competition has loads of plastic, while Small obviously doesn't have any plastic. And then again, we re-emphasize the fact that it was a free trial and they could start their free trial. And then when they clicked, again, we had a very unified user journey. So all eco-friendly users, when they clicked on the ad, they landed on a landing page, which again spoke about the product being eco-effective. So that's also called ad relevance and image relevance, where you see a similar product, similar imagery on the ad. When you click on it on the landing page, you again see similar kind of product, as well as you see similar kind of communication, so that users think that it's a good click and they don't get confused and they don't bounce off. In the purchase phase of the funnel, users generally obviously select products They use their debit credit card to make a payment. They input their card information, they choose the shipping option, they obviously do the card confirmation, and they reach the payment page, the checkout page, or shipping page, and order confirmation page. So this is when the user is in the purchase aspect of the funnel. And so users who had dropped off in the consideration phase, these were the kind of ads we used to retarget them to get them to buy. So these ads are, so generally when users are higher in consideration but they haven't purchased yet, what are the drivers that really get them to buy are things like, different kind of leverage of any press mentions, or customer testimonials of other customers, or really just showing to them that a lot of people buying our product and a lot of people are buying from us. So that's why with small, again, we used communication as 1.5 million plastic free washes can't be wrong, so come buy from us. In the onboarding aspect, so users who are in the onboarding aspect of the funnel, uh, how do we onboard users, right? So you obviously, they have tried our laundry detergent, and then they've decided that they would like to keep it. So this was the kind of communication that we did for people who would want to onboard, who were in the onboarding aspect of the funnel. So these were, again, the packaging itself was very eco-friendly. So, and it had that eco-friendly call out, and it also had the fact that, it was, by the government body, it had those trademarks and certifications. So as soon as the product reached the user itself, it was eco-friendly. That's how you reinforce the fact that the product is eco-friendly. And they also received a post-purchase email which spoke about how the user is making a big impact on the society, on the planet, because it spoke about how they've saved plastic, how the kind of chemicals they've saved by using small, and the kind of carbon they've saved by using small. So again, what we try to do is we try to um, quantify it in a way which was easy for users to understand, by using very simple imagery, by using things which people understand, right? So, it's really difficult to say that you've saved so many ounces of plastic, but as soon as you compare that to, the weight of an elephant, for example, that's when it's easier for users to understand what is really happening and how they are saving the planet. And users who had already obviously bought from us, how did we really retarget them to make them advocates of the brand? We used a very strong referral mechanism where users could recommend a friend and they would get incentivized for every time they referred a friend. We obviously also asked them for ratings based out on their checkout experience. And we redirected them to the customer review pages so that we could really collect a lot of customer reviews, and then retarget them with, use these testimonials as user generated content for, again, going back to the awareness stage, for users who are in the awareness stage. So for advocacy, what we did was, we sent a lot of refer a friend emails, and we incentivized them both the ways. And we did programs like, you get X percentage off and the friend gets Y percentage off, as well as we did a lot of remarketing ads on social channels. So all in all, this is how the user journey of a customer looked like when, for small. So in the awareness stage, as we said, we targeted them with a lot of communication of single-use plastic. In the consideration phase, we got users to show how we are better than competition. In the purchase stage, again, we spoke about user proof and about the fact that a lot of other users were using small. In the onboarding aspect, we delivered the right kind of messaging through packaging. And in the advocacy stage, we obviously did a lot of social posts that looked like that, where you incentivize the user to refer to another friend. This is another example of another customer journey where brands basically build these customer journeys to look like that, where users are able to, based on wherever they are on in the marketing funnel, they use, you interact with the users in different stages, and this is what you can potentially do. So just, explaining this a bit further. So imagine if there is a skincare brand. So Nursum is another UK based brand who's another client, and we had created these customer journeys for them, where we said that in the top of the funnel, reach in the top of the funnel, stage of the funnel, what we would do is we would reach out to users using the reach campaign. So doing things like quizzes, doing things like makeup hacks, doing things like reels on Facebook, which talks about tips, three tricks, things like that work extremely well, because you can use video to reach out to a really large user base and spend very minimalistic based on the cost per impressions of these videos, right? Or you could even use quizzes, or you could use a lot of other kind of lead magnets like checklists, or lead other lead generation forms, like potentially doing quizzes, checklists, reach, doing email marketing to reach out to a larger base. And then once a person has clicked on that, you come onto a landing page, where the landing page really is probably an information material, like a blog, for instance, right? Where, you're educating them further and saying this is how, the three top makeup hacks can be used. So stuff like that, which is educational and not promotional, or not transactional. And then once a user has landed onto that page, he's obviously interacted with the brand, has gotten to know about the brand, and is aware of what the brand is and the offering is. Then the user obviously enters the middle of the funnel stage, where if he's still not bought, we could do a lot of retargeting ads with social proof and talk to them, showcasing, the kind of mentions that you've got in different publications like Forbes, or any well-known publication that exists, right? Once a user clicks on that, he potentially will go onto the product page. And then if he has bounced off from the product page, you could look at targeting them again through retargeting ads, because he's probably looked on the product page but not added the product to cart. So you could do some retargeting ads which talks about 15% discount, for example. Give a specific code on Facebook, which again says the product, use the code and check out and get a 15% discount. If the user has come onto the cart page but still not purchased and he's still bounced off, then you could still do some more retargeting ads, which are to the bottom of the product, bottom of the funnel users, where either again you talk about discounts, or you talk about the fact that it's limited product available for a limited time period and it's fast selling. So again, stuff like that. Or probably just talk about product benefits and reiterate how it's better than competition. And then it's always great to understand and think of your email journey similar to what your ad targeting journey looks like. So that's how we build cohesive plans, where we use email marketing intelligently to really correlate to whatever we've shown in the ads through the various parts of the funnel, right? So, for example, this email again talks about the fact that if we notice that you've left something in the cart, come check out, right? If a user still doesn't buy it, then we again give them another reason to buy, another RTB. Another reason to buy could be that the social service that the brand is doing, so the CSR activities that the brand is doing to give back to society. If the user still doesn't buy, then again you talk about social proof, and you do publication mentions. And if this user still does not buy, then you potentially give them a discount. And that's how customer journeys are built, and that's how users think of different paid channels. Marketers think of different paid channels, and use CRM and email marketing to build these cohesive customer journeys. That's it from my end, and now we would have some time for Q&A. Does anybody have any questions? Sure. I think the mic is coming.
Okay, so my question is, you said that this.
Sorry, if you don't mind, can you just
Yeah. So this is for like free for how many days? The soap you were talking about, the detergent.
Yeah.
So how many days is it free for, and then you start charging for it?
Right. So the way the subscription model worked for small was that you got the first parcel for free, which was like a small sample size of 9 tablets. And then, based on the frequency that you had chosen during the checkout at the first instance, you would automatically get the next product delivered. And as soon as the next product was delivered, it was charged.
Okay. Because it was not written down, so I didn't know.
Sure.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks. First of all, this was super practical and really enjoyed it. So what were the things during let's talk about the small thing. What were the metrics that you were looking at to kind of follow up and say, okay, so this part of the strategy worked, this part of the strategy didn't work. What were the things that you were looking at, and what should someone be looking at when actually implementing this and following up on each of these steps? Thanks.
I think that's a brilliant question because that's what most of the brands really struggle with. When companies come to us, that's the first question we ask them: that what is your North Star metric as a business? Based on whatever is the North Star metric, and by North Star metric, we mean that one metric that we'd like to follow through as a business. We derive the marketing metric and basically pursue that. So depending on the stage that the business is in, generally different metrics tend to be very important. So if I had to give small as an example, in the early days when they were looking at aggressive growth and they were looking at user acquisition because they were Series A funded and they wanted to reach Series B and they had a 18-month runway and they needed to hit their user acquisition numbers. Their key metrics that they were tracking were number of new users who subscribe to Small. That may or may not be the right metric through the life cycle of the business, because later when they became Series B funded and it was more about profitability and making the bottom line, making a healthy bottom line, they started tracking things like customer lifetime value. So it really depends on what are your business objectives for the next 6 months, for the next 1 year. Based on that, you really come up with your marketing metric, and you align the business goals with that and track for that. So if we had to create customer journeys for user acquisition, which was really talking about first time user purchases, we didn't really see how many people dropped off, how many people retained through the subscription journeys, and for how long did they retain. And we only were focused on top of the funnel and getting as many people aware of the brand and really checking out and subscribing to Small. Later, when we were looking at lifetime value, then we started doing a lot of cohort analysis and saying that, okay, this kind of segment tends to drop off very easily, is not probably even sticking on to the 6 subscription. So let's pause targeting them. So, just to give you an example, this is exactly what happened. When we started working, and when user acquisition was the key, we weren't really shouting out eco to the eco segment, and eco segment was not really a major segment that we were going after. We were looking at more of convenience moms and price sensitive moms, and we were really talking about how it's 50% cheaper, or how you don't need to lug around boxes, and that was the focus of our entire strategy. But then very soon we realized that those moms were not really sticking on for a really, really long period of time. So if we wanted a very sticky customer, we started testing other segments, and we realized that eco and the eco warrior segment was a much stickier segment who stayed on for really, really long. So that's how we started targeting them, and that's how even the communication on the website changed, and all the entire customer journey communication changed based on that. Cool. Are there any more questions? Yeah.
So thank you for the presentation. It was super interesting. This question is not gonna be like something offensive to marketing agencies or anything, but I'm always wondering about the one metric that almost in every conference related to marketing agencies, someone brought up. So and the question is, if if there are 60% of clients who are not happy with their marketing agencies, why is it that, and if you're not happy with the service, why usually clients still stick to their agency? What do you think about this? What's your view here?
Sorry, I didn't quite understand your question.
So yeah, it's what do you think? Why clients are not happy with their marketing agencies? So because there's this metric that a lot of people say that 60% of clients are not happy with their agencies. So I'm just wondering, why is that? Why do you think is that, and why they still stick with their agencies if they are not happy?
Yeah. Well, so you're right. I used to, before I started my own agency, I used to be on the brand side, and I used to be the global head of digital marketing for a $3 billion conglomerate. And I had agencies in New York, in Manchester, in the UK, and in India, in Bombay. And this was exactly, I used to be in your place, and I would be like, you could work with the best agencies of the world, but you just get this kind of service, and why can't they just change? And why can't they really talk about true business numbers like we do as brand marketers, right? And it's so easy to fudge digital data. I think there are whole pros and cons where you make performance marketing reports. It's really black and white, and you're really talking about numbers, but agencies can really spin stories and really paint a different picture and really not talk about true things. So I think the biggest I wouldn't know, like I would talk from my own personal experiences, and that's one of the reasons I started GrowthSpin. I think the biggest reason which led to my unhappiness with agency partners used to be the fact that a lot of times account managers used to be people who would interface with clients every single week, but the actual person who was doing performance marketing, or the strategist or the founder who came in the pit stage of the deal, never ever showed up on weekly meetings. And I think that's where the disconnect was, that a lot of times, when we used to go through various pitches, we used to be painted amazing, brilliant plans and brilliant dreams, but when it came to execution, there were a lot of junior or entry level associates really executing stuff. So I think that's one of the reasons which I struggled with, and that's how we started GrowthSpin, where we said that if we don't have account managers, that's why we have marketing strategists who actually deal with the clients every single week, and they are probably better than me in the work that they do, and we also try to have the actual people running campaigns onto calls, if not weekly, at least monthly, because that's when you actually get the gold mines, right? Those gold nuggets of what campaigns are working, what campaigns are not working. So I think that's what I struggled with in my past experience. Cool. Are there any more questions? Yeah, sure.
It's actually not a question, but also a response to the previous question. Having worked agency side and now on the brand side, I think a lot of the times contracts just lock brands in for a certain amount of time. So, they become really unhappy with the performance. They are sold a dream, and an agency doesn't necessarily live up to it. When they're looking at kind of the actual company's metrics versus their own sort of platform metrics, which can be inflated based on the attribution method that they use. So I would say with brands, kind of the way that we go about things at our company is agreeing to like a testing period with an agency. So like a few months or a few weeks, even if that gives the campaign enough time to learn. But I find that that's a much better way to go about an agency partner relationship, is to have that test period rather than kind of locking into those longer contracts, because it's really difficult to kind of gain a sense of what execution will actually look like and what it'll look like on your end versus their end.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. With really long contracts, a lot of times complacency sets in. So it's a great idea to really test and to even see, personality wise, if it's a good fit also or not. Great. Are there any more questions that we have?
I see that you have multiple retargeting ads within the whole customer journey itself. In a typical campaign, what's your percentage allocation for the retargeting ad itself? And I guess like really, how often do you retarget, and then what's the percentage you usually allocate for that?
I think that's a great question because when it really depends. It depends on the kind of brand and the kind of uh, user base it already has. So if it has a really large user base already, it's great to do, probably 40% of your ad spend on retargeting and 60% on user acquisition. Basically because, obviously when somebody is down the funnel, there's a higher chance of that person converting versus in the awareness stage. And it also depends on what is the objective really that you're trying to do. Are you trying to get more and more people come in and just get to know about the brand, and then you have like a sales team, doing the follow-ups and the closure? Or is it a B2C brand, which is a typical e-commerce brand, which really, really ROAS is important, and, conversions are important. So if it's the latter, and if conversions are really important, then 60-40 split is generally what we do. And the way we really categorize our campaigns are in three aspects. So we call it prospecting. Prospecting is looking at fresh audiences. Then we create lookalikes, obviously people who look like the prospects or the existing customer base. And then the third aspect is retargeting. And then you also said what kind of retargeting. I think that's a brilliant question, because what we also do is we do sequential retargeting quite a bit, and we've seen that it works really well. So generally, we refresh ads every 2 weeks because there's a lot of creative fatigue that sets in if the same set of segment of users are seeing the same communication again and again. And we literally sit, it's a great exercise to internally brainstorm and understand what are the main RTBs for the brand. By RTB we mean reasons to buy. And based on those reasons to buy, so for example, if you nail down three most important reasons why users will buy from you, it's great to create sequential retargeting ads that for the first 2 weeks, the user is shown the first reason to buy. Then the second 2 weeks, he's shown the second reason to buy. The next 2 weeks, he's shown the third reason to buy. Even if he doesn't purchase because of all of those reasons to buy, then you get onto the fact that you talk about social mentions, or you talk about other user testimonials. If the user has still not bought, then it's about incentivizing them through a discount or through a free product to get them to buy. So that's how we plan retargeting ads, and we plan the entire sequential retargeting for the entire customer journey.
That's great. Thank you.